Hi there, I am Deborah Henson-Conant, also known as Deborah Henson-Conant, also known as DHC, and I am here because I want to tell you about something that is happening that is very, very cool. And that is that Harp Time Live, which is the group that I lead on Thursdays. It's just a play-along group. It's a live harpist from all over the world. We are taking a field trip to a virtual festival site. So Somerset Harp Festival has gone all virtual in 2020, and it's going to be virtual again in 2021. But in 2021, which is this year, they have this incredible interactive site. And they wanted somebody to test drive it. And so I suggested that perhaps all the people from Harp Time Live would come and get to test out Somerset Live. So if you're not already registered for Harp Time Live, I want to tell you to go and register now because it's free. And if you register, especially if you're a harpist, anyone can come, but it's usually 99 to 100% harpists, 150% harpists. Go to my blog. That's at hipharp.com/blog. And that hip as in cool, harp as in the instrument. Just go there, and the very first blog post is all about Harp Time Live. And another thing that I want to do today is I'm going to show you what we're going to be playing in Harp Time Live tomorrow. Give you an idea of what it is so you can kind of get ready for it. So so what we're going to do tomorrow is you're going to register for Harp Time Live today by noon on April 1st. And it's not an April Fool's joke. It's really happening. Register by noon in order to come to the field trip. You can register anytime. If you're seeing this after that, you can go register for Harp Time Live and you'll be able to come any Thursday, and it's always free. But just go to my blog again, hip is in cool, harp is in the instrument.com, register, and make sure if you want to come to Somerset that you register by April 1st at noon Eastern Standard Time. Here's what I want to show you is that we're going to get to poke around all over the Somerset interactive site, but then we're going to do a Harp Time Live play along right there, right in this Somerset virtual environment. We're going to be in one of their Zoomerset Rooms. It's called Somerset Square, where we're going to be. All right. So, and don't worry, I'll tell you all about how to get there on the page once you register. What I want to show you now is what we are going to be playing at Harp Time Live. And this is a song that many of you may know. It is a song that I wrote many years ago, and now it is played in a lot of different situations. Like it just got recorded by the Salzburg Philharmonic with wonderful harpist Evelyn Huber. It's played by many different people, but it is also an incredibly simple, it can be an incredibly simple, fun tune that is almost like a game. And I want to show you that game now. One of the things I love doing is breaking music down so that you can play it at any level, because experiencing fluency at any level is fun. And I believe that it is possible to be not only fluent, but expressive, and to have a peak musical experience and to share it with others at any technical level, if you can actually embody that level. That's why I love breaking things down, teaching them simply, and then how to get more and more complicated. And here is a perfect example of that. This tune, Baroque Flamenco, the way we're going to learn it, is like a game. And it's got 3 parts that go back and forth. So let's learn the middle part first. That's a progression. And that progression is, I got my harp in C here. You can do this on a piano too, by the way. It doesn't matter. It'll be exactly the same on a piano. You'll use all the white keys of the piano. So, but on a harp, you're going to play an A minor chord. And when I say an A minor chord, that can mean many things. First of all, it can just mean the note A, because that is the root. That is the heart of an A minor chord. And you can always play that if someone says A minor, because it's not going to be wrong. So A minor can be just the A. It can be A and C, which is just an interval. It can be A, C, E, which is a triad. It could be A, C, E, G, which would be a 7th, an A minor 7. It could be A, C, E, A, which would just be sort of a more open A minor chord. And that's what we're going to play, A, C, E, A. We're going to take that same shape and we're going to move it down a step. So it's A minor, but if we move it down one step, it's G major. And just just to let you know what I'm doing with my left hand, first of all, I'm playing the root. So I'm playing A with my left hand, and then it's going to come down to G, and then down to F, and then E, because that's the progression. But my other part of my left hand is going to play down an octave. So they're both playing the roots, which is A, G, F, and E. So we're going to move everything down. A, C, E, A here. Move it down a step, we've got a G major chord. Move it down a step, you've got an F major chord. Move it down a step, you've got an E minor chord. But I don't want an E minor chord, I want an E major chord. So to get an E major chord, I could raise this lever, but I'm too lazy to do that, so I'm not going to do that. So when I get to that E chord, I'm not going to play that G. I'm actually going to play E, B, D, E. I'm going to have a different shaped chord. I'm going to leave out the problem note. So let's do that again. A, C, E, A, and then you move it down a step. Then you move it down a step to F, and you do that E chord that leaves the G out, so it's E, B, D, E. That is the whole middle part. Now, that can be done. It can be done simply like that as well. Or, once you get comfortable with it, you can add rhythms. And you can get as fancy. I'm still doing, but just like a garden, if you see a daffodil come up, all it is this little green thing that comes up. But then it grows and it grows and it grows and it grows. So if you get the fluency of being able to play like this, and you keep doing it for years and years, or days and days, or maybe even just for an hour, or depending on what your level is, it might happen in a minute, it will start to grow. And if I give you a rhythm, it can take on the characteristics of that rhythm, and then I can still have that going, and I can add a melody. Now that's not necessarily going to happen when we play this, but that's the beauty of this, and that's the beauty of playing it as a game. This part of the game is just about A, G, F, E. Okay, so that's one part of the game. Then there's another part of the game that's called the melody. And the melody starts on an E. It's a pretty simple melody. We'll probably play it a little slower tomorrow when we play this. It's got an accompaniment, which is A, E, and then an F, and then an E. So it goes like this. Then the left hand goes F, and then down to E. So it's pretty simple, and I do it again an octave lower, but it's a really beautiful melody. And I stop there, and then I do a gliss with an E and a bass, and then I come to that second part. So they fit together. So I'm just going to do that once again. I'm going to do the melody. And repeat it lower so it has a different character. And then I go to the other part. A, G, F, E, A, G, F, E, A, E. And I come back to the melody. And so on and so forth. And one of the things that's really wonderful about this tune is that it's got a melody which is set, alternating with a chord progression that you can improvise on. So it's a game that helps you start improvising more. That's how I used it when I was a kid. The other thing that's really cool about this is that it doesn't have to be like raucous. You could actually use this as in a meditative way. And you could go to the chords Which is actually how I first learned it, and then I started adding the rhythms later. So you've got those two parts, the melody and the chord progression. And you could just play forever. Like for years I played that and just had fun going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I would get more and more adventurous with the chord progression part. And then when I would get lost, I'd go back to the melody. So it became this wonderful game. There is a third part that makes this, that is sort of has led to the fame of this piece, and that is that it's got a flamenco part to it. And we're going to learn that as well, and I'm just going to show it to you now. It's very cool. For this, you actually do need to raise that G lever. So there's two chords in this flamenco, or this third section, and those two chords are E, E, G sharp, B, E. And then the second chord still has an E in the bass, but it's got an F, A, C, E. So I guess you could really just go like, you play E in the bass, G sharp, B, E, and then just take those two fingers and move them up a step. And that gives you the sense of how this part of the piece moves. If I were playing it, I might go. Do this. So I'd have G sharps in both places. So the point of all of this is to experience that feeling that you get when you get to do that. And music is about the experience. So we could do that. We could just experience this, which I did for years. But what I like to do now is to use a really interesting technique. So let's look at this again. It's E, G sharp, B, E. That's an E chord. I could play it like that, or I could play it like this. So in this case, I'm actually putting my fingers on the notes I want to hear, and I'm playing them. In this case, I'm putting my fingers on all the notes I don't want to hear. And I'm playing like this. Looks like I'm getting a message. Maybe I better turn that off. Boy, it looks like this is an important message that I don't want to forget. All right, let me turn my messaging off. All right, do not disturb. I'm with you guys. All right, so I could, like I said, play E, G sharp, B, E. You'd hear that E chord, or I could put the fingers of this hand on D, F, A, C, and you'd hear that chord again. I could play them, or I could stop all the other strings. But what's fun about this is you can, oh wow, you can get fancy. And etc. You can get fancy with one chord, but imagine what would happen if you had two chords to go back and forth with. So let's do that. We put it on D, F, A, C. We've got one chord. Now take those lower three fingers and put them up a step. I get a second chord. I can have the experience of feeling like I'm playing a flamenco guitar, which is the experience that I want to have. So I can keep it simple. That's the basic fundamental thing that I'm doing. I'm just going back and forth between these two chords. So you've got three fundamental things. You've got, I'm going to put this down, you've got a chord progression, A minor, G major, F major, E major, because I'm just not going to play the note that would make it minor. That's a chord progression. I've got a melody. And I've got a technique that I can play around with, that I could use as an introduction, or I could use as an interlude, or I could just use to have fun with. And that, I raise the G, is where I showed you where you're holding the D, F, A, C. So those three things, put them together, you got a game that you can play. That's a musical game. So that's what we're going to do in Harp Time Live. And so we're going to start by making this into an introduction that people will do at whatever level they can do it. If you can only just do this, that's what you're going to do. If you can't change those, you're not going to play it. You're just going to play along, doing the thing that you can do. G down, and I'm going to play the melody. And I'm going to play it again an octave lower. I'm not going to quite finish it. I'm going to put a gliss in here, and then I'm going to play A, and then G, and then F, and then E. I'm going to play this maybe 8 times. And then I do that again and play the chord progression again. And this time I put that G sharp up and I hit that third idea. And I play around with that. And I play the melody to end it. And I have a piece. And I have a piece that is basically built on a blueprint. In fact, this is one of the pieces that you learn in Blueprints for Creativity, which is a new class of mine, as well as learning it in the class that I have called Baroque Flamenco Beyond the Page. And you learn it in different ways. In Blueprints for Creativity, you learn the basic form of it, along with 6 other blueprints. And in Baroque Flamenco, Beyond the Page, you actually learn all the notes of it. You learn how to build it out. So in one, you learn the blueprint. In the other class, you learn how to take that blueprint and build it out. And in Harp Time Live, what we're going to do is we're going to take the distilled, simple form, and we're just going to get used to playing it and having fun with it, going around and around and around. And the thing that's wonderful about this is that even if you are a fairly new player, this is a game. So you know, you don't have to play it perfectly. You know that these things are going to happen over and over again. Even if you can't get everything, you know that we're going to come back to that A minor, G, and the E, F, and then the E. So you can watch out for that. Aha, I can jump in to do that. You know that the melody starts like this. So you start, what I love in Harp Time Live, what I love about it is that often when we learn things, there's this kind of this like, whoa, there's all this stuff. And it takes a while of doing it before our brain starts to wrap around it. And especially with a harp or any other instrument, and when our body starts wrapping around it, so that we start speaking in the language of this piece. We start speaking in the proportions of it. It's almost like we become it. I don't know exactly. I'm always looking for analogies and metaphors for that experience. And one of the, when we weren't in a pandemic, I would have concerts, and I would play with symphony orchestras, and I would have whole concerts, and I didn't have any music written out because I'm always playing from the structure. In my head, I could take a tune like this or a game like this, and it's such a simple game as a game that then when I'm performing, I can start having fun with it. I can explore it just like you would explore a conversation, or just like you would explore any other game. When you have a game and you know the basic guidelines of the game, you're focusing on playing the game, not on learning the exact rules. When you're reading sheet music, in a sense, it's like you're learning how to play the game the way some amazing player played it once on March 5th and 2005 or something like that. And somebody wrote it all out, and you're learning how to play that game exactly that way. But when you learn from blueprints in this simple way, you are learning to be able to play the fundamental distilled version of that piece, and then it becomes a game. So I hope you will join me in there's 3 different ways to enjoy this piece. Most immediately on April 1st, Harp Time Live is going to, this is kind of complicated, but it's going to Somerset Square. Just do this. Go to hipharp.com/blog. That's hip as in cool, harp as in the instrument.com/blog. And you will see Harp Time Live there. Sign up for it. It's free. And then I'll tell you about everything else. Once you do that, I will be able to let you know about all the other ways that you can explore this and other tunes by distilling them down to their fundamental self and then being able to play them like a game. And the game that we are going to play tomorrow is Baroque Flamenco, or today, depending on when you're getting this. And so anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this. I really love teaching this piece, and I really love playing it. I've been playing it for decades, and it never gets old. There are so many more fun things that I can do with it. And so I hope I see you soon. Just the only thing you need to remember is really hipharp.com. Hip is in cool, harp is in the instrument. And if you want to, /blog, anyway, whatever, you'll find it. I'll put it in the, I'll also go put it in Facebook so that you'll have that information. Hopefully this got recorded on Facebook. Actually, it didn't. But I was clever this time and I recorded it, and I'll put it up so that you can see it. Okay, I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.